Take it away.
So since Halloween was yesterday, I thought it would be kind of fun to do a presentation on something I found kind of interesting, and also a trend that is sweeping the nation as of currently, no longer getting your pets costumes, just dyeing their fur. I got a little carried away with the pictures in this presentation just because there were so many like very intricate, interesting things that I found. So to start off, to talk about the history, so in 2010, in China, basically there were all of these pet owners and petting zoos that started like coloring chow chows and golden retrievers like tigers and panda bears. And there's even like videos of people taking around their chow chows like throughout town and like letting them go, and people thinking that it is a panda bear and then them like running away. It's kind of funny. And so then through that, it kind of just trickled down through like social media and stuff. In 2012, there were these two women that were featured on Anderson Cooper's talk show, talking about how they make a living dyeing their pets' hair, different pets' hair. And then that has kind of just led it to where it is today, where it's everywhere, where now there are competitions of dyeing pets' hair. Like there's a Yoda, a German Shepherd, albino with a dragon, like tons of like crazy different things. You see stuff on like, oh, DIY tips on how to dye your dog's hair on Pinterest. Just tons of different things. So going on with that, talking about, is it ethical or safe? Now, everybody's favorite animal rights group, PETA, likes to say that dyeing a companion animal's fur, it can cause animal stress and can lead to complications or allergic reactions that endanger the animal's health. Now, this is somewhat true. It's a little extreme, but so the stress aspect, a lot of times dogs, if they aren't bathed like regularly, can be very finicky about water or just being bathed in general. So that can put them through a lot of anxiety and stress. So if you're coloring your pet's hair all the time and they don't like to be bathed, that can be very stressful for them. On top of that, it's always fun to watch a dog look at its reflection in the mirror trying to figure out what that is. But then just imagine they have no idea what just happened to them, and now they look totally different, and they're also like colorblind. So it's very like stressful for them, or gives them anxiety to see that. Another thing, so the allergic reaction side of that, there's a lot of chemicals used in dyes, and we don't know what all of our pets are allergic to. We don't typically do the little needle test where you put needles all over the body to figure it out in a pet. And a lot of times there's chemicals or natural colorings from food, and so they could be allergic to a chemical or different foods, so there's always that.
Oh yeah, there's probably artificial coloring in their kibble, right? I mean, all that kibble that's got different dyes in it, they're different colors.
Yeah. And then also, one of the biggest things is human hair dye. Typically, this is not supposed to be used at all. Humans have a pH of our skin around like 5.5, which is very acidic, compared to dogs, which have around like 7.5 to 7, which is very neutral. So when you're putting in hair dye for a human, it's going to be more acidic, and that is going to react very negatively to a dog's very neutral pH skin. And on top of that, their hair is all over their body, regardless to us, where it's just our head. And then, so bottom line, it is safe if it is done correctly. Doesn't mean I'm saying that everybody should go do it, but it is, like, it can be safe. So going on, what kind of dyes can you use that are safe? Like I had said earlier, there's food coloring. It's very safe, very natural. The only issue that you run into is if your dog is allergic to one of those food groups. But basically you can use like spinach, turmeric root, beets, grapes, blackberries. Obviously you would not want those grapes to be ingested in that animal. But if you're looking just to get that color, then you would juice the fruit or vegetable, and then you can use that juice and put it onto your animal.
Okay.
Yeah. So not only is it a juice cleanse, but it can also be for your pet.
Yeah.
Another thing would be gel-based dyes. They're going to last a lot longer. It's like 2 weeks to around a month, depending on like rainfall, how much they get wet, whether you bathe them multiple times. They're like a very popular one is this Poppin' Purple, which is like, I watched somebody do a video on it, and it was very purple. They were not lying about the poppin'. And then,
now this is made especially for pets.
Yes, these are all made like especially for pets, because like I said, you can't do anything that would be used on humans, because it would be very bad for them.
That's good.
Another thing would be hairspray, so these hair markers. They are very convenient, very easy to do like streaks, but they also come out or wash out very easily. Fur chalk, same thing as kind of the hairsprays and the markers, just a different way to put it on. And then you have Kool-Aid. That is also a popular method of dyeing hair for humans, but instead of, it doesn't have like that very acidic compounds. The only issue is that it can get very sticky, and then your pet will be trying to lick it, and then it gets everywhere and all over the house.
But these products on the right are all made for pets from safe ingredients.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
just
okay.
vegetables and fruits,
Yeah.
but yeah, those are all of these can be like found on the internet. The gel-based dyes are a little more expensive. For one of these, I think it's about, I don't know how many ounces. But that's like $24 for one of those.
Okay.
And then it was like a set of 6 markers you could get on like Amazon for $15, or these chalks, which were like $7 for 4 ounces of it. So it's really not that difficult, and Kool-Aid is obviously very inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
So how to do it, I have a YouTube video to show, but some tips that I would say like before starting this video, he doesn't really go over it. Start with a small section of the fur. So like they kind of say with like shoe polish or something else, you want to see how it's going to react with your pet before you put it on their entire body. So if an adverse reaction happens, it can be more easily contained and also not harm the animal as much as fully submersing it in this liquid. Another thing, make sure your dog is comfortable. So like I said, if they typically get into a high stress when they are bathed, maybe not dyeing your dog's hair all the time would be a very thing to do.
And I can see some dogs would love the attention.
Yeah,
You know, it just depends on case by case.
There was another thing is if your dog is is very shy, or like you got it from a shelter and it has like kind of a negative background with different people or people they don't know it, and you dye your dog all these eccentric colors, you're going to have people running up to them being like, oh my gosh, your dog is so cute. And if your dog doesn't like that, that can be also very stressful and like give them a lot of anxiety just when they're walking around. And then another thing is to avoid areas around the eyes, nose, mouth, and inner ear. You just don't want chemicals going into those places. There hasn't really been studies that have been done on like what happens, but can't imagine that would be good. You wouldn't want like hair dye going into your eye or you eating it. So same thing applies to your pet.
What we need is a brush and a mixing bowl and a semi-permanent hair color. Make sure to use gloves to prevent stains from going all over your hands and your skin. Make sure that when you apply the dye on your dog's coat, you apply it evenly up to the roots to give it a better looking appearance after you dry it. Make sure to soak the hair dye on your dog's coat and skin to give it a more vibrant look. To give it a better position, you can apply Vaseline or any petroleum jelly on the areas where you don't want the hair color to be. You can use other brands of hair colors as long as they are organic to make sure that it's safe to apply on your dog's skin and coat.
Just because it says it's organic does not mean that
After
you can use it on
applying
your
the hair
pet.
dye on your dog's coat, you can leave it for about 30 minutes before rinsing it up. To rinse your dog's coat, use any conditioner that you use for your dog. Since you are using a semi-permanent hair color, it only stays on your dog's coat for about 2 to 3 weeks. And so, here's our finished product, a patchy purple poodle.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. And that is my presentation.
Okay. It's funny you did this because a lot of times if you read newspapers online, there's always some kind of contest where the dyeing. So this is like becoming popular. And you said there's some people out there in the real world that make a living from this, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a career in a sense.
Yeah, people are doing like pet salons. Like, I mean, it's honestly like, it's artistry. Like, what in the world? Like, this is insane. Like a poodle becoming a peacock.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anybody have any experience or questions? Anybody? Let's see. Anybody ever seen these animals on campus? I haven't really seen. I know I've seen plenty of pictures online and newspapers, and sometimes there's contests, but I don't know if I've ever. I think the closest I've seen, and this is good. You know, I'll send next week. I'll remind you, but there's that Great Indie Pet Expo on the 11th. I think it's Saturday and Sunday, isn't it? 11th and 12th, I think it is. And sometimes you'll see animals, dogs there, and that's probably where I've seen them, because people bring their pets in. There's like rescue organizations have booths, and people are selling dog food and all kinds of dog things and cat things. So it's at the fairgrounds. I'll tell you next week about it. But if you're into pets and if you're into people watching, it's like a double whammy. It's just so fun because you'll go around. It's quite a big area. And then they have some contests there. Oh, I'll tell you this one contest they had neat. Okay, so they have a dog down here, and the owner is at the end, and there's like this maze. But the thing is, whoever's dog goes from here to there the fastest is the winner, and they win some prize. And I can't remember, there's a funky name about it. But here's what they do. They put cat food and treats along the way, and you're down there calling your dog. So the more obedient it is, the faster it'll get to you. And it's kind of fun. Some dogs will go buy all this great fun stuff and go to the owner, and other dogs will eat their way to the owner. It's amazing. And they'll even put some horse manure, anything that distracts them. And some dogs race down to the end. And there's somebody's timing them, and then the best time is the winner. But some of the dogs don't even listen to the owner. They're eating all the treats all the way down the line. It's kind of fun. And there's other fun things they do there too, so I'll remind you next week about it. Okay, other comments, questions?
So I thought it was interesting in the video they used manic panic, like hair dye,
Yeah.
which is actually a human's hair
Yeah,
dye.
I saw that during the video, and I did some research behind it, and I guess it doesn't have a very acidic pH level to it, and so that was the reason why it could be used. But a lot of people said that just in case that that specific one could be used.
Isn't checked out.
Yeah.
But
But
in general, avoid the human
yeah.
products.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that's something I didn't know. I would have thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have these neighbors that have 2 Shih Tzus, and another
Can you
thing
say
I
that
thought was
faster
pretty cool.
3 times?
2 neighbors with 2 Shih Tzus. But basically, they have these 2 Shih Tzus. They look exactly the same, and so they know their dogs apart. One's name's Oreo, the other one's name's Peanut Butter, because one of them they dye their dog's hair black on the ears, on the outsides, and then the other one is dyed golden, and so they can tell them apart more easily.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So there's a practical side to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's give both of those people a round of applause. Excellent.